Hello and welcome, I'm Richworth and today we're looking at Red Dead Redemption 2. Let's dive right in because there's a lot to talk about and I've got a short amount of time to talk about it. To begin, the story follows the late life of Arthur Morgan, a member of the Van der Linde gang, which is led obviously by Dutch Van der Linde, the guy you're after in Red Dead Redemption 1. I didn't know this was a prequel, I found that out halfway through. I'm a bit slow. Anyway, all the characters, the twists, and the developments, including the Dutch's loss of... not the Dutch's loss of sanity, is all very well done. It's looked at very minutely. It's not like it happens in a couple of seconds like a certain villain's sudden change of morality. But each of the character story arcs are well thought through and are exquisitely. It's almost like tasting a fine wine when you're looking at each of the different characters and looking at their changes and the way the story takes them. For example, you have a character called Sadie Adler. She begins she's at the start of the game and she meets the Van der Linde gang after the O'Driscoll gang kill her husband, take over her farm, set fire to it while she's watching and hiding in the house, so she sees everything that happens. As the story goes on, she eventually develops a need to kill the O'Driscoll gang. So she basically finds as many of any hideout, any operation, and she basically takes it upon herself to literally just ruin it for them. And obviously, eventually, this ends in the fact that the O'Driscoll gang ceases to be. There are no other O'Driscolls to worry about. So unlike in most revenge stories in most video games, the character going on a self-destructive rampage where basically, she has nothing else to live for because she's dealt with that, because she can't go back to her old life. She just wants to, hunt down scumbags and deal with stuff. Luckily, back in the Old West, there was such a job where you could hunt down scumbags and, hold down a decent job, and that's bounty hunting. So that's what she ends up doing. Which is actually quite nice, because then she actually ends up with a nice wholesome ending. As I say wholesome, it's a Rockstar game. She ends up with a nice ending. Okay, next we have the online story. Yes, there is one. Basically the gist of it is, you were in jail, you're then broken out of jail with the help of a man called Hawley, who takes you to his boss. She then tells you that you were put in jail because you were framed for a murder of her husband. She wants you to catch the actual murderer. That's basically the gist of it. At the moment, it's still in development for the rest of it. We've only gotten like 2 of the people we need to kill. There are 2 more. Anyway, the controls are spot on, but needed a little refinement. For example, when you were strafing and running about and making sure that you were untouchable, because by dodging, it wouldn't work and you'd be killed within a few minutes because it was very blocky and very hard to deal with. Now it's been sped up and now it's a lot more what you'd expect from a Rockstar game. The gameplay is varied and is very simple, but not basic enough to become too repetitive and annoying. The horseplay is fun, and being able to shoot from horseback is very satisfying with any one of the guns you have at your disposal. But rather simply, it's good fun and doesn't seem like there is an end to what they are trying to give you. Finally, the graphics. They're spectacular, they're beautiful, the vistas are gorgeous, and the towns are gritty, and the map is vast, what you expect from a Rockstar game. But in this game, it does the vastness so much better than in any of the other games where you have vehicular transport. For example, in this game, you only have horses or wagons. They only go at a certain speed. They can't go at 100 miles an hour like most of the vehicles do in GTA 5, where you have the griefers, because if the griefers can get from one side of the map to the other in under a minute, there's no point you going to the opposite side of the map to avoid them. Whereas in this game, the only mode of transport that's fast enough to do so is jumping into the fast travel, and that's not really a guarantee of staying in the same server. So you don't have a guarantee of actually attacking a specific person. If you wanted to try and stay in the same server and try to get to them, it would take you a very long while. For example, if you were in the southwestern side of the map, in the add-on area for the online mode, New Austin, it would take you half an hour to get from that point all the way to the top northeastern side above Ansburg. It would take you half an hour to get there at a trot. Okay, so it's 9 out of 10 for the story. It's fantastic, but some of the things need to be made a lot more clearer. It's 10 out of 10 for gameplay. It never gets old and you discover more details all the time. Finally, 10 out of 10 for the graphics. Rockstar came up with a amazing, vast and beautiful world that manages to be full of life and quiet at the same time. So it's 29 out of 30 for Red Dead 2. It's a short review, I know, but to be honest, I think that's why I need to be making these things. And also, there's a lot more I would like to talk about, but we would be here for a lot more than half an hour. It's fun. Pick it up if you haven't already. It's a good fun, especially when you have friends to enjoy it with you. It's a good group play experience when you have the whole world to consider and the cooperation that you need to do certain jobs in this game. Okay, so see you next time for a brand new sort of game that I'm dipping my toes into. Not sure whether I like it or not. We're looking at Atelier Riser, the Koei Games. I think it's like a turn-by-turn based game. We'll see. So I'll see you then for that on the 10th of the 11th. Thank you. See you then.